Tonight, history and heartbreak at the Rogers Cup. Are you okay? Bianca Andreescu takes home the trophy after a grueling path to the final.
This wasn't the way I expected to win.
We take you through the emotional finish nobody saw coming.
It sounded like 50 big rocks just like sliding down the mountain.
An act of criminal vandalism brings down a BC landmark. No one was hurt, but the crash of the Sea to Sky gondola takes a lot of tourism money with it. Plus, inside the Prime Minister's office as it managed the tensest relationship with Washington in years. From prepping to shake hands to dealing with name-calling from the Oval Office, CBC News gets an exclusive look at a new book with all the details. This is The National. The biggest tennis tournament in Canada, won today by a Canadian. It had all the makings of an epic battle. On one side, a living legend, famous for her power, control, and experience. And on the other, new talent, already making waves for her skill, determination, and instincts. But less than 20 minutes after it started, it was over, giving Canada its first Rogers Cup champion in 5 decades. Our Devin Haru was at the Rogers Cup in Toronto today, and he saw the drama as it unfolded. He walks us through all the big moments on and off the court.
A capacity crowd energized for today's superstar matchup. 19-year-old Canadian Bianca Andreescu, the hometown hero from Mississauga, taking on one of her idols, the great Serena Williams. Storybook stuff, anticipation at an all-time high.
Oh, she has such a great drop shot.
If Andreescu had nerves going into the match, you'd never know it, charging out to an early 3-1 lead. Then this.
Yeah, we've got a problem here.
In an emotional upset, Williams forced to retire from the match due to an upper back injury. Just 19 minutes in, giving the 19-year-old the championship, the first Canadian in 50 years to win.
Bianca's going over. Wow.
A shocking moment, the crowd stunned. Andreescu's care and concern so genuine.
Yo, I watched your whole career. You're a beast.
With the match over so quickly, organizers scrambled to put together the trophy ceremony. Williams and Andreescu finally addressing the crowd and each other.
I'm sorry I couldn't do it today. I tried, but I couldn't do it. But Bianca, you're a great sports person, woman.
Serena, you made me cry on the bench over there. You are truly a champion on and off the court.
Andreescu is the champion today. And perhaps what people will remember most is the poise and grace she showed her opponent in the moments after her championship win, something not lost on the 37-year-old who was winning titles before Andreescu was born.
I think Bianca's a great girl, always have. That's why I've always wanted to play her. She's just a fabulous personality. She's an old soul.
An old soul and Canada's rapidly rising star, now ranked 14th in the world. Devin Haru, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, as Devin pointed out, neither wanted the match to end that way, but that moment they shared at the end when Williams realized she couldn't go on is such a great example of sportsmanship. We wanted to show you the whole thing.
Bianca's going over. Wow. The match is over.
Yo, I watched your whole career. You're a beast. With injuries, I've been through so many already, and I mean, you know how they are. This sucks. On your back, right? I know everything about you.
That's some tough ladies right there. Now, the return of a Canadian to the championship ranks comes at a fitting time. This country has seen a surge of talent on the court in the past decade, and as Kelda Yun explains, the Bianca effect will almost certainly add to that momentum.
I love seeing women in sports.
As a young female athlete, Tia Travado is especially thrilled with Andreescu's win.
We're the same age. That's so crazy that she's winning the Rogers Cup at 19.
The victory cements Andreescu's place as the next great Canadian tennis player.
We know that there's going to be young kids all across this country before the match, during, and after who want to be Bianca.
In the past 5 years, tennis in Canada has seen a sort of renaissance with many young players taking the world by storm. Tennis Canada says it expects this trend to continue.
You know, I have friends from around the world that'll call and say, what's in the water that you have the best 3 teenagers in the world?
It's not just women's tennis having a moment. On the men's side, Denis Shapovalov made the Rogers Cup semifinal 2 years ago, and Felix Auger-Aliassime is currently ranked number 22. So what's behind this surge?
They've created a national training center in Montreal, and they've helped kind of raise this next generation.
But Tennis Canada says outside the big cities, there aren't enough covered tennis courts for young people to play on year-round.
We have them in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, but if you go to smaller jurisdictions, you don't have that. It's difficult if they can't play in the winter.
In the meantime, Andreescu's big win is inspiring more young women to pick up the racket.
You've got this young 19-year-old Canadian playing the icon of women's tennis. It doesn't get any better than this.
Kelda Yun, CBC News, Toronto.
So one last note on this story tonight. Adrian spent a little bit of time with Andreescu earlier this year, not long after her big win at the Indian Wells Masters. And we wanted to revisit just this one moment from their conversation tonight.
So when you're a kid and you're banging against your mesh balls against the, the walls at home or the garage, is there like a little internal dialogue? Like it's Bianca versus Serena?
That's actually funny you mentioned that. Yeah, I would always pretend like I was in the finals of US Open actually. And I wasn't playing against Serena, I was playing against Kim Clijsters. But that's when she was playing. But now I'd probably change that to, obviously, Serena.
Check that one off the list. Today was their first match, and while it didn't go the way either would have liked, with Bianca's new ranking, they'll likely meet again soon. In BC tonight, some people are contemplating what they stand to lose in the wake of a terrifying act of vandalism. On Saturday, just after 4 in the morning, someone cut through the steel cable for the Sea to Sky gondola ride in Squamish. It sent 15 gondolas crashing to the ground.
It was a loud sequence of noise, like so I ran over there just in time to see this like big cable pop, and then all these things just fall, and it sounded like 50 big rocks just like sliding down the mountain.
Now, fortunately, no one was hurt, though hundreds of campers were nearby. The tourist magnet is out of commission now for months. Today, Dever Goebel spoke to some of the people who will pay.
As one of the most popular tourist destinations in BC, its closure is already being felt in the small town of Squamish.
We're all such a tight community that it's impossible for me to think that someone would intentionally do that. So my mind's blown for people to try and harm someone in that way. It's disgusting.
Local restaurants are filled with tourists like the Penners from Saskatchewan.
We came to Squamish to take a gondola ride.
It was our plan to come today. Yeah.
Thousands of people would ride the cable cars every day to take in the stunning views.
It's a major tourist attraction for Squamish. It's well known. All the cruise ship business people typically come here. Just regular locals go up there with their season's passes, and people from Vancouver drive up just for a nice scenic day to go up the top of the mountain.
He worries it's not just the gondolas business that's going to be affected.
It's going to have a full trickle-down effect.
It could take months to fix, and even then, things might not be the same.
I think people are going to be afraid of the gondola in the future. I think you'll be kind of cautious about what happened.
It has shocked everyone that police say the cable was deliberately cut.
The gondola is a well-loved tourism facility in the corridor. It provides people with an opportunity, regardless of their age or their ability, to really experience the alpine environment. And you know, you protect what you love, and the gondola offers people an opportunity to get up there and really see the beauty of this place. So it's just incomprehensible that someone would want to purposely take down that operation.
More than 200 local people have been left at least temporarily without jobs. An expansion project had been underway. There's a restaurant up top where weddings are held weekly. And then there's all the employees who staff the gondola itself.
Squamish clearly offers so much more, and there's lots to see and do here. It's a nice place.
And that is what the people of Squamish are hoping tourists remember. Deborah Goebel, CBC News, Squamish.
CBC News has learned the autopsies are complete on the two bodies found in the Manitoba bush this week. Police believe they belong to fugitive murder suspects Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski, but we won't get confirmation until tomorrow. As Austin Grabish tells us now, what we do know tonight is what Schmigelski's father is now saying about his son.
I'm not going to say my son is a murderer until I get some facts.
In an exclusive interview with 60 Minutes Australia, Al Schmigelski says he's in disbelief. The BC man, who lives in Victoria about 3.5 hours from Port Alberni, where Briar was raised, is struggling to grapple with the fact his son is being remembered as a killer. RCMP say their investigators are confident Briar and his friend Cam McLeod are responsible for the deaths of China Deese, Lucas Fowler, and Leonard Dick.
I'm so sorry for what's happened, okay? Whether it's my son or whether it's something else, we don't know. I have just lost my son. I know exactly how you feel.
Schmigelski says he's frustrated that he's found out about developments through the media instead of the RCMP.
Well, it's Monday morning, and I was reading the news, and there was my kid's picture on the front cover of the Vancouver Sun. Missing. That's how I found out.
His interview sparked immediate backlash from China Deese's sister Kennedy. In a statement on Facebook, she says, "Your sorrow is for yourself. You cannot relate to us as we had no doings in the cause of your pain when you've played a part in the cause of our pain. The proper public response would have been a genuine apology, but we still forgive you and have mercy."
The RCMP here in Manitoba continue to have their officers search for clues. There's still a team on the ground up in the Gillam area, and on Friday, the team found another item police think the suspects were carrying.
We think we're kind of closing in on the end, but like I say, until we're certain that we're done here, we got to keep some resources in play in case they're needed.
RCMP and BC are expected to release details about the autopsies on Monday. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Winnipeg.
New York officials say an autopsy was completed today on the body of Jeffrey Epstein, but they're waiting on more information from investigators before releasing their findings. The alleged sex trafficker was found dead by apparent suicide yesterday, but anger over how it could have happened, how it could have been allowed to happen, and swirling conspiracy theories have been quick to grow. As Paul Hunter tells us, the U.S. president is adding fuel to that fire.
Says the White House on Jeffrey Epstein, forget the guessing game on what happened Friday night. Focus instead on the crimes he's accused of committing.
I think the president just wants everything to be investigated. Jeffrey Epstein has done some very bad things over a number of years. And so let's continue to investigate that.
And yet, it was Kellyanne Conway's own boss, the U.S. president, seen here with Epstein in '92, who this weekend helped feed the fast-growing conspiracy theories on how it is that Epstein apparently killed himself while in his cell in this high-security jail in New York. The suggestion in a retweet by Trump that somehow Bill Clinton was involved, a theory for which there is zero evidence. Trump sent it to his 63 million followers regardless. Democrats vying for the White House today slammed Donald Trump.
This is just more recklessness. What he's doing is dangerous. He's giving life to not just conspiracy theories, but really whipping people up into anger and worse against different people in this country.
Even as Epstein's body was under autopsy, perplexity over his death mounted. Reports today suggesting, contrary to the rules, guards at the jail failed to regularly check in on Epstein Friday night and that he was being held without a cellmate. The super wealthy convicted sex offender had been facing fresh allegations of pedophilia and sex trafficking. A high-powered circle of acquaintances over the years includes Trump and indeed Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew, himself accused of sexual wrongdoing alongside Epstein, denied by Buckingham Palace. Today, the Queen was at his side on their way to church in Scotland. While in New York tonight, questions grow all round. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Here are some other stories we are watching tonight on The National. It was the 10th Sunday of heavy clashes in Hong Kong with no end in sight. This time, police wasn't only targeting protesters in the street, but also shooting tear gas canisters into a subway station. One police officer and several protesters were injured.
Start to fire, both men, then I catch.
In his own words, a 65-year-old man describes how he overpowered a gunman at a mosque in Norway. Officials are praising him, saying he saved lives. Only one person was injured in the attack. Police say the suspect was inspired by recent white extremist attacks in New Zealand and the U.S. And a 39-year-old man has been charged with attempted murder and aggravated assault for allegedly setting his ex-partner on fire in Quebec City. She remains in critical condition. The attack allegedly took place in front of her mother and 2 children. CBC News has been given an exclusive first look at an upcoming book about Justin Trudeau's first mandate, one of his most difficult jobs, managing the relationship with Donald Trump. The book is by CBC's senior writer, Aaron Wary, and it reveals some new details about some of the tensest moments in Canada-U.S. relations in years. From the very beginning, Justin Trudeau knew Canada's relationship with Donald Trump would be a challenge. And so everything was coordinated and planned right down to that first handshake.
I think I might want a handshake.
Trudeau describes it this way to Wary. There wasn't a huge strategy around it. It was just, okay, this might be a thing, so let's make sure it's not a thing. The handshake was deemed a success. Then came the hard stuff, namely renegotiating a trade deal with our biggest trading partner and a president determined to punish countries with tariffs. The U.S. administration was already musing about imposing steel and aluminum tariffs back in the spring of 2017.
There is no relationship between any two countries in the world quite as close and as integrated as Canada and the United States.
So when Trudeau meets Trump at the G7 in Italy, he decides to raise it directly. Trump responds immediately, telling his top economic advisor, Gary Cohn, to make sure Canada was not on the list. But a year later, the tariffs came anyway.
Let me be clear. These tariffs are totally unacceptable.
And it was then that Trudeau perhaps realized for the first time just who he was dealing with. He describes it as a turning point, telling Wary, Trump has moved into a place where whatever he says I need to take with a grain of salt, regardless of the handshake and the commitment and the look in the eye. Those tariffs and the NAFTA negotiations were putting the relationship under increasing strain, and every attempt was made by the Trudeau government to build relationships both inside and outside the White House. In the midst of this, Trump made his first and so far only trip to Canada for the G7. Trudeau viewed his job as chair was to hold the meeting together. But at the closing press conference, Trudeau also made a point about those tariffs.
As Canadians, we're polite, we're reasonable, but we also will not be pushed around.
The U.S. signs on to the joint communique in spite of tense discussions described in the book. But as Trudeau's staff begin to celebrate, Trump begins to tweak. I have instructed our U.S. reps not to endorse the communique. Trudeau's first reaction was not outrage or confusion, but to wonder what he had done wrong. My first thought was, oh my God, what did I say in the press conference? Where did I say more than I had before? What was it? Because I thought I did okay. I thought I walked the line. In fact, the Prime Minister had said nothing new, but Trump's attack dogs began to lash out.
He really kind of stabbed us in the back.
There's a special place in hell for any foreign leader that engages in bad faith diplomacy with President Donald J. Trump.
It was another sign the NAFTA negotiations would not be easy, and Canada's chief political negotiator seemed to rub Trump the wrong way.
We're very unhappy with the negotiations and the negotiating style of Canada. We don't like their representative very much.
In fact, Trump was so annoyed by Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland and her negotiating that he went much further. The book reveals that Trump told Trudeau over the phone directly that Freeland is a, quote, nasty woman, a phrase he uses regularly to describe women he dislikes. The book also says Trump accused Freeland of talking about him to other leaders. That final push to clinch a deal, Wary reveals, came in part because of the strong relationship forged between the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Katie Telford. It was a state of play document Kushner requested and Telford delivered near the end of September that showed both parties were closer than they thought. So close that as the deadline closed in, they finally reached a deal.
We have a great relationship. He's a good man. He's done a good job, and he loves the people of Canada.
The government knew this meant they could finally pay attention to other things that needed it. More on those other things tomorrow. Up next on tonight's National, how actors with disabilities are breaking ground on stage and screen.
I feel like the more representation we see, the more willing people are to go out and actually work on their craft and really, go out there and fight for roles.
This award
is for every kid who is watching tonight who has a disability, who has a limitation or a challenge, who has been waiting to see themselves represented in this arena.
A historic moment there for those with disabilities in the theater world when Broadway's Ali Stroker became the first person who uses a wheelchair to win a Tony Award for her performance in the Rodgers and Hammerstein classic, Oklahoma. The entertainment industry still has a long way to go for performers with disabilities, but things are improving. Last month, Marvel announced its first deaf superhero, and just this weekend, a new comedy co-starring a young actor with Down syndrome opened to strong reviews. Tashana Reed takes a look at the fight for representation, one gig at a time.
Yeah, they have a ramp there.
Actor George Alivisos is taking on a different kind of role. The 21-year-old is working with the Canadian Actors Union, ACTRA, to do audits at local casting facilities.
Yeah, it's pretty wide, it's easy to get in.
Examining physical barriers actors with disabilities encounter while trying to book a job.
The stall is quite small. For a lot of people, it might be quite hard.
Often, the solutions are simple, like adding a ramp as an alternate for stairs, or the height of a sign-in table.
But if I'm having trouble getting into the audition space, it kind of catches me off guard kind of thing. And so it may not cause me to do my best work, which means I won't book the job.
Alivisos has already booked the lead in commercials and appeared in Star Trek Discovery.
And I feel like the more representation we see, the more willing people are to go out and actually work on their craft and really, go out there and fight for roles.
It's representation in shows like Special that are motivating actors like George.
I have cerebral palsy.
What's that?
It's a disability in the brain manifested through muscular incoordination.
The debut season of the Netflix short comedy earned 4 Emmy nominations, including Best Actor for Ryan O'Connell, the creator and star of the show.
I always believed in the show, obviously, and I thought it could kind of have an impact and resonate beyond just like queer disabled communities, but having that validated is sort of incredible.
Special is based on O'Connell's real-life story of hiding his cerebral palsy while trying to make it as a writer.
I was hit by a car.
Everybody, come hug Ryan. He was hit by a car and now he's a weird, sad lip forever.
O'Connell started shopping his script 4 years ago, but says networks at the time were hesitant to pick up a series about a gay man with a disability, until Netflix said yes.
It was a hard sell, but I think that, that times have changed. People are realizing that stories like this need to be told.
But how those stories are told can also be an issue, something actor and advocate Tatiana Lee is working to change in Hollywood.
You hear these terms, they overcame their disability. And 95% of the time, they let people who don't have a disability portray them.
Still, Lee says the industry is waking up, with more and more actors with disabilities landing auditions and lead roles.
The conversation is happening. We are now included in that conversation. I think we just have to keep fighting, keep pushing, and keep educating.
In all our rooms, we built a ramp.
And it's a fight these actors and creators are willing to take on. Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
Still ahead on The National, an urgent need to bear witness while photojournalist Lindsay Addario is drawn to some of the most dangerous places in the world.
There were so many wounded American Marines coming out of the Battle of Fallujah that they cleared out the inside of a cargo aircraft. And this is how they were flown to Ramstein in Germany for treatment.
Adrian's interview with the Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer next. You may have seen her work, but you may not know her name. Celebrated war photographer Lindsay Addario has had an extraordinary and dangerous career covering some of the most violent places in the world. Adrian had a chance to talk with her about why she does it and why she thinks it's so important, especially now, to do this kind of work. Here again is that conversation, and a warning: this story does contain some graphic images.
Do not call Pulitzer Prize-winning war photographer Lindsay Addario an adrenaline junkie. She's not. Don't call her fearless. She's not that either. What she does is terrifying, and it does scare her. The searing scenes she shoots sometimes make her cry so much she cannot see behind her lens. But she goes back to the front lines, to famines, because, as she wrote in her memoir, it's what I do.
4 New York Times journalists were held captive.
Even after being kidnapped twice in Libya and Iraq, after being assaulted and traumatized, it's still what she does.
They are all home safe now.
But there's a question in this era, when the powerful tell lies and make people doubt, how much does the work of a witness matter? She happens to think it matters more now than ever. So she spent some time with us in the National Studio to talk of the costs of opening eyes. Welcome to the National.
Thank you.
We've tried to decorate the place a little bit for you.
Wow, it's amazing.
As hard as it is to look at them, can you hear any of these? Like, are the sounds of any one of these really loud in your head?
I mean, Libya, for sure.
This one up here?
Yeah. And Korangal,
That's Afghanistan?
Yeah, that's in Afghanistan, so that's 2007.
And what are you hearing when you look at that?
I mean, that's right after an ambush. So we were hit from 3 sides by the Taliban, and it was just cracking, you know. So there was the wailing and moaning, and that's a funeral for Mama Cisse. She was a young woman who bled to death during pregnancy, during childbirth.
And a completely normal pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right?
She was pregnant with twins, delivered the first baby in the village, and the second baby wouldn't come out. She had to take a canoe across a river after having just delivered the first baby, and then like about 6 hours over bumpy roads in an ambulance to get to the hospital. That's when I met her. And I photographed the delivery of the second baby, and then she started bleeding, and no one, like the midwives were just sort of mopping up the blood and saying, oh, it's normal, it's okay. And
but you knew.
I knew something was wrong. So I actually ran to try to find the doctor, the one doctor in the whole province. And he was in surgery, and I went into surgery. I put on scrubs, I went in. I said, I think this woman's dying. And he said, well, I'm busy. And I went back, and they picked her up and carried her to him, and she died. Yeah.
That scene didn't just rattle Addario. It touched nerves in important places. Time magazine put out an 8-page spread that caught the eye of the pharmaceutical company Merck, which then put aside $500 million to fight maternal death. That's making a difference with a photograph, but it doesn't always work that way. These are American soldiers.
Correct. So this is during the Battle of Fallujah. So this is in November of 2004. And there were so many wounded American Marines coming out of the Battle of Fallujah that they cleared out the inside of a cargo aircraft and literally flew them on the floor of the plane, and they were all seated on the walls. And this is how they were flown to Ramstein in Germany for treatment.
I don't know that Americans had really seen pictures like this.
They had,
at that
I
point.
don't think they had. I had never had access like this. And this was for Life magazine. So we got this incredible, unprecedented access. And Life held the photos through the re-election of Bush. And my photo editor said, my feeling is the editor-in-chief doesn't think the American public can handle seeing these images. And I was furious. And I said, you know, how dare you send me to Fallujah if you don't even have the guts to publish what I'm seeing. And so luckily, I called the New York Times Magazine, and they published them.
But that's why you take a picture like that,
course,
right?
Of course. I mean, yeah.
The moments she captures don't leave Addario. Sometimes the faces of people at their lowest have ended up being the ones she sees in her mind when she's in trouble.
Photographer Lindsay Addario was one of them. The group was beaten and threatened with death.
That was certainly the case in March of 2011. Addario was with Anthony Shadid, Tyler Hicks, and Stephen Farrell when they were grabbed by Muammar Gaddafi's men, kidnapped, beaten, and moved around. Addario knew enough about the sexual violence women face to fear the worst.
I I've heard the stories, I've heard the testimonies that I've heard of women in the Democratic Republic of Congo, women in Darfur. You know, I feel like I got off easy. I mean, these are women who were raped, they were gang raped. Their stories are horrific. And so for me in Libya, you know, over the time of our kidnap, I was touched, I was groped, I was, you know, tied up, blindfolded, beaten up. But for me, it was nothing compared to what the women that I documented went through. But I did sort of turn to them for a source of strength in the middle of the kidnapping in Libya. Like, I remember one night we were in prison and we were all terrified. We had no idea how long we would be held for and what they would do to us. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, if those women in Congo and Darfur can hold their head up and do this, I can get through this. And I just kept telling myself, like, I can do it. And that's sort of, they were really a source of strength for me.
And when you went home, you got pregnant.
I did. When I came home from Libya, I was still ambivalent because I think as a woman, a professional woman, especially a woman in this job where we travel all the time, you know, it's very hard to figure out what life will look like as a mother. And so I didn't really have any role models at that time. I didn't know any other photographers, war photographers, who were mothers. And so I was terrified. You know, I was terrified to sort of go down that path. And I remember just turning to my husband and saying, forget it. Like, we need to start life. Like, I've had enough of death and I can't do this right now. And I got pregnant, like, right away.
Life got better and work didn't stop, but the world changed a bit, and the urgency to bear witness at times feels even more acute. Is it getting harder or easier to make an impact with images in this climate?
Harder, I think.
Why?
Because we're so bombarded with images and we're so bombarded by social media, by violence, by blood. You know, I don't think an image has to be graphic to be powerful. I think an image has to be subtle, but it has to tell a story. And I think, you know, we see so many images every single day that most people, they don't pay attention anymore. I think people's attention span is just almost nothing.
And I wonder, does it drive you even more?
It drives me even more because I think, you know, we have a president in America who says journalists are the enemy of the people. He says fake news, everything is fake news. He lies basically every day of his presidency. And I think it's really important as a journalist to show the importance of journalism with integrity, the importance of being there, the importance of calling out leaders around the world who lie. And so, you know, I covered Darfur for 6 straight years, and there was a case where I was in Chad and there had been a massacre of government soldiers. And President Bashir went on TV and he said, you know, that didn't happen, no government soldiers were killed. And we went to the border and found a truckload of rebels and said, like, hey, did this happen? And they said, yes. And we said, well, can you take us? And they were like, well, it's super dangerous. There are Antonovs flying overhead and they can bomb, you know. And we were like, look, we have to see it to report on it for the New York Times. And we went, and there were bodies clear across the desert. And that picture was on the front page of the New York Times. And you know, when you have a picture as proof, you cannot lie. You know, the fundamental fact that a photographer has to be there is really important at this time in history.
It is the curse of the world right now that there are a lot of troubled places she needs to go to next. South Sudan, maybe Yemen. It's our great fortune there's a Lindsay Addario ready to be there.
So one more accolade. Last month, Addario received an honorary doctorate from the University of York in the UK for her work raising awareness on social justice and human rights issues. Just ahead, how people in a hard-drinking nation are working for change. Russia's sober vigilantes take us on a raid.
This is forbidden on the all Russian territory. So this is like Red Bull, but with alcohol. So this is forbidden at all.
In surveys of alcohol consumption by country, Russia tends to land among the world's biggest drinkers. That was especially true when the collapse of the Soviet Union wiped out jobs and spread hardship. In the mid-90s, 1 in 12 Russian men was an alcoholic. But those who grew up in the 90s are now a major force in politics and culture, and they're taking the country's habit in a different direction. Here's another look at Chris Brown's dispatch from Moscow to see how Russia battles the bottle.
It's past midnight, and we're driving through Moscow's vast eastern suburbs, getting ready for a kind of sting operation.
So we're going to the store that doesn't obey the law. They sell alcohol after 11 p.m., which is not legal in Russia. Уже подъедет.
Edward Grigoriev is with a youth group called Sober Russia. Think of him as a kind of booze vigilante, a civilian who helps police enforce Russia's alcohol laws.
Well, we do this because we think that this can make Russia a better place to live in. This is like maybe in the future our kids will also hang out like at night, and we don't want them to have like to die from the alcohol.
Whereas Russia once had perhaps the loosest alcohol laws on the planet and the worst rate of alcohol abuse, it's now swung hard in the other direction, thanks to a decade of successively tighter government regulations.
So he just went to the store and bought a couple bottles of beer, and it's 1 o'clock at night, 1:16. It's more than 2 hours that you cannot sell alcohol at all.
To ensure those rules are followed, Grigoriev and his volunteers carry out these exposés. With our camera rolling, we go inside, and sure enough, there's an illegal beer sale happening right before our eyes, though the buyer quickly pivots and says he was just buying water.
У нас вот есть человек, которому только что ты продал пиво. Я вас вижу не в первый раз, я вижу вас как минимум во второй раз.
Incredibly, the Sober Russia team go behind the counter and start pulling out all kinds of illegal liquor.
This is forbidden on the all Russian territory, alcohol energetic. So this is like Red Bull, but with alcohol. So this is forbidden at all.
The police will come in an hour or two, take the team statements, and then levy a fine on the shopkeeper. With all the new taxes, it's no wonder some people are continuing to make their own liquor. Police released this video in early December that shows a raid on a moonshine factory just outside of Moscow. They found 77,000 bottles of homemade vodka. It can be deadly stuff. 2 years ago in the Siberian city of Irkutsk, 78 people died after drinking a bad batch of homemade liquor. Stricter regulations, though, are only part of what's steering Russians away from excessive drinking. A new generation is also making healthier choices in their lifestyle. Yuri Sasoyev and his friend Alexei Fersenko have embraced a fitness-focused lifestyle, which means absolutely no booze.
We are new Russians. We don't drink alcohol.
Their sobriety comes as a result of traumatic experiences each had in their childhood.
У меня был, если сейчас оглянуться, детский алкоголизм, да, так называемый. Я рос в 90-е годы. В 90-е годы в России было достаточно тяжелое время, и алкоголь употребляли практически все.
Я попробовал водку где-то лет в 13. Я употреблял алкоголь до достаточно большого возраста. И вот только когда у меня появились дети, это случилось 5 лет назад, я понял, что алкоголь не должен быть в моей семье.
И происходит вот, что происходит в пятницу вечером. Алкоапокалипсис мы называем это.
Both men work as actors and filmmakers in Moscow, and they've just finished this project. It's a short movie called The Outcast. It features a teen boy who gets taunted by his friends because he won't drink. He makes a decision to say no rather than succumb to peer pressure.
Нет.
We show two ways. Two ways. Alcohol way and healthy lifestyle way.
Alexei and Yuri have been taking their movie to Russian high schools. They urge students to read up about the harms of drinking on the internet, and they talk about their own choices.
Наверное, с вашего возраста, с 15 лет, я этого не стесняюсь. Я был алкоголиком. Я в школе употреблял. У меня 8 класс начинался с бутылки пива. И в 22 года у меня произошел просто сигнал из космоса, и я бросил пить и курить в один момент.
But for all the success Russia has had, progress has also been very uneven. Today in Russia's Far East, 70% of men under the age of 35 who die are still killed by alcohol. And the healthcare system is continuing to cope with the legacy of generations of heavy drinkers. You can see that here. This is Moscow's main alcohol rehab center. We were given a rare opportunity to look inside the emergency ward. Every bed was full of people in very bad shape. They were detoxifying and drying out.
The third floor up there? Yes, up there, here.
Ekaterina Klukow was once in one of those beds herself.
Every time I drink and feel better, drink, feel better, drink, feel better. Without drink, was nothing.
The rehab ward was her home twice, first in 2009 and then again in 2016 after a relapse.
Why? Because I'm an alcoholic from my childhood, you know, I think so. Because I have seen this pattern from my mother, from my grandmother.
Klukow now works as a social worker, helping alcoholics find strategies to stay sober. She has a 17-year-old daughter, and she believes in today's Russia she'll have an easier time than she did.
Она предупреждена и видела столько страданий от всего происходящего со мной. Мама, если бы я жила так, как ты, я бы предпочла, чтобы меня вовсе не было. Я предпочла покончить жизнь самоубийством.
Vodka will remain the cornerstone of many a good party in Russia, but in Moscow's trendiest neighborhoods, moderation is in, as are wine bars and craft beer pubs. Thanks to successful national alcohol reduction policies, a new generation is making far healthier choices about how they drink than their parents. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
That was such a fascinating story. All right, coming up, our moment. You are never too old to be a rock and roll fan. Not just a front row seat, but the only seat. A 95-year-old Alberta woman gets treated to a very personal show. That's next. classic 80s rock for you this Sunday night. I'm feeling it. This weekend, Canadian rockers Glass Tiger pulled off one big surprise for a very lucky superfan. 95-year-old Albertan Jean Savage, what a name, has been listening to Glass Tiger for 3 decades thanks to the influence of her grandson. And this weekend, Glass Tiger found out, and bus driver Denise Harrison drove the band to meet Jean and got to witness the whole thing, and she takes us through tonight's moment.
So I knew I was picking up Glass Tiger, but you never know what you're going to get with a band. And one of the band members, and at the time I didn't know who he was, asked if it was possible that we could stop in Mayerthorpe. Said that he wanted to stop and see a senior. And I'm like, sure, no problem. Well, for sure. I know where they are.
Next thing I know, they started singing. We were just wowed by all of it. I think we were all a little awestruck. It's really a blessing. You could tell she was thrilled for sure, and definitely well worth putting off bingo. Because apparently she wanted them to get there before bingo started.
We're here all week.
I love everything about that. I love that I now know what Glass Tiger is doing because I was wondering. I love that Jean Savage still wants to rock at 95, and I love that she still made it to bingo. And now you all have Glass Tiger earworms in your ear for the rest of the night. You're welcome. That's The National for this Sunday, August 11th. Good night, everybody.